street chasing wrong from right. Eyes like fire burning through the haze. Truth is a weapon, cuts through the maze. Some call her trouble, some call her brave. Digging up secrets they tried to save. A real deal around town. She's breaking it down, spinning the wheel, exposing the sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her cry. Shadows, they curse her name. Afraid of the spotlight she brings to the game. But the grateful ones, they cheer in the dark for the spark she ignites in their weary hearts. Some call her danger, some call her hope. She's the thin line on the tightrope. The sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her crown, yeah. The sound. They despise her, they praise her, but she won't slow down. Real deal around town. The truth's her crown, yeah. The truth's her crown, yeah.
Well, hi, everybody. We're back so soon. This is becoming a daily event, isn't it? So I'm here today to bring you up to speed on the next level of what's going on with the water stuff. The water department, the water commissioner, the water, God knows what, the lawsuit. I don't have any grand news for the lawsuit. The court website is down. It might have come back up, but I kind of doubt it. They've had a message up all day, and I got a feeling they have problems on their computers stuff. So I'll have to check it later. I wasn't expecting anything to be posted. The select board is going to be having a meeting tomorrow night in executive session regarding the lawsuit, and I think it'll be sometime after that meeting when something will be posted to the court's website. So that's just in limbo. But I'm here tonight to talk to you about what's going on in the water. The Board of Water Commissioners had their meeting last Monday, a week ago today. And I can't remember now if it was, I think it was last night. Last night. Boy, I've been just on a tear for the last few days with all this stuff happening in Townsend. It's just, wow. Anyway, so it was last night. TCAM released a bunch of meetings onto the Townsend's YouTube channel, as well as I am assuming they're on Channel 9, although I don't have cable, so I can't tell you. But an important meeting that I was watching for was the Board of Water Commissioners meeting, because somebody told me, know, I don't even remember who it was, and I don't know where they got it, but there was going to be something interesting on their meeting. So I was like, yes, 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 come on, come on, come on. And so as soon as I found out that the meeting was posted, I don't know if I got a notification. I might have. I don't know, or if somebody called me. I don't remember. I've been just nonstop for a couple days. I was gonna go back on and do another live last night, but I was too tired. I'm like, let me put it together for tomorrow. So here I am tonight. But it was eventful. Nothing crisis, but it is crisis. There is a crisis. Craziness over in the Board of Water Commissioners. But they had their meeting, and before they even really got underway, they broke the open meeting law. Of course. I mean, well, why wouldn't they? Everybody else is. They might as well join the party. So my functions barely before I got out of bed this morning was to file an open meeting law complaint. Because it was just so obvious. I'm going to be showing you the video from the meeting. To show you what was said and everything. We're going to sit through that whole long meeting. There was some interesting things. Most of it is over my head. Todd talks like that. He doesn't want anybody to know what he's talking about, I think. Todd is the chair of the Board of Water Commissioners, and he's also the water superintendent in Billerica, another town. Good luck to them. They got to deal with them full time. I hope they're having as much fun as we are. So anyway, yeah. So, but first I'm going to bring your attention to the open meeting law complaint that I filed. And I want to explain that to you. And then I'm going to bring you to, I can remove that. Then I'll bring you to the video. So let me, yeah, interesting. Before I bring it up, I made the thumbnail. You probably, if you came in before this video started or immediately after, or if you look on the YouTube page for me, you'll see that the thumbnail is up early. I got it up before my video. This is a new thing for me. But it says something about Todd gives his deposition. I'm calling it that because when you're in litigation, as the town is, you don't talk. I keep saying that video after video after video. You do not discuss the matter in public. Everything you say can be used against you in a court of law, and it will be. And trust me, I have nothing to gauge what they're doing, the lawyers on the other side who are suing us, but I'll bet they are at least watching all the Townsend YouTube videos, all of them, because God knows what they're saying all over town. And I suspect they've run across my videos. So welcome aboard, RFS, if you're watching. I mean, I'm not doing these videos to help somebody sue my town, but I can't help this. I'm reporting news for our townspeople, for the public, and I can't help it if it's damning, and because it's not me that's making the damning statements. It's the public officials that are saying things, and I'm just reporting what they said. And they're saying it in public. I'm not the only one seeing it. I'm not the only one recording it. They're recording it themselves and displaying it all over the place in complete arrogance, stating that they've done nothing wrong. And those of us that know they have done something wrong are shaking our heads. And I don't know what to think of this. But Todd went into the meeting Monday going, he talked for over 10 minutes about the funding stuff that has gone along with the the water treatment facility. He talked about the funding, and he kind of just talked in circles a little bit. And I mean, I have to say, partially deliberately to confuse people and make people think that he knows what he's talking about. He used a lot of big words and a lot of acronyms, and everybody thinks, oh, I'm not going to ask questions. But he went on and on for 10 minutes talking about correcting citizens. He's concerned that citizens are reporting the wrong stuff, and he wants to set the record straight. Okay. And my translation of that is he doesn't like what people are saying about him on Facebook. People are talking shit on Facebook. And I mean, yeah, people talk shit on Facebook, and a lot of times they get things a little exaggerated and kind of rumors start. But so watch my videos and I'll give you the straight scoop. That's all. And don't take my videos and convolute what I said into something else. If you want to check back on the facts, come back to me. I'll set you straight. So he said the citizens, he heard from citizens that he he held back a little bit on explaining that statement, but he didn't say Facebook. That's the way he said what he said. I'm like, oh, he's talking about, people must be talking bad about him on Facebook. And I'm not on all the channels. I'm only on like really one anymore. Townsend Mass. I call it's Townsend Mass, the real deal now. I changed the name because it's my group. So come on in. So yeah. So he went on and he talked about how there's no concerns. He didn't mention the lawsuit. He didn't mention the ethics complaint. I suppose that's a good thing, although I'm not sure. But he talked about how there's no fear. Nobody should have any fear about the loans being canceled. He didn't mention grants. But he talked about the funding not being canceled and the loans are in repayment and all this stuff. Everything is wonderful. And there's one thing he did say that I think he was reading it off some list, and I think that he kind of stumbled on himself. And I will bring your attention to that when he talked about bidding problems. That he wasn't, anyway, but he said that bidding problems can cause a problem with funding. Yeah, we know that. That's why everybody's up in arms, like worried about what's going to happen. How much are we in for on this disaster that's inflicted by? It's made worse. Whoever you want to blame for what caused this thing, it's being made worse by the public officials who are going out of their way to express to the public their opinions. And you just don't do that. We're in litigation. There's $1 million lawsuit, and the Ethics Commission hasn't opened their hearing yet. The hearing for David Vigeant, our water superintendent, is on November 18th. If you don't think they're watching the town videos, meetings, and what is being said publicly, you are very, very mistaken. And again, I'm sure that they're watching my videos. I can't tell. There's no secret way for me to see who's watching my videos. I can't even tell who's liking my videos. If you like my videos or you don't like my videos and you do the thumbs up or what have you, I have no idea who you are. Only if you comment. And then only if you comment and I know what your handle name is. I know who you are. Most people have all these crazy names they use. They don't use their own. So, but if I'm involved with $1 million lawsuit on somebody, I'm searching social media for anybody that knows anything about it. And that's what I'd be doing. And I hope somebody in town hall is doing the same thing. And I'm confident that RFS is doing it. And I'm confident that somebody over at the ethics is doing it, because everything that's being said by everybody who claims some kind of knowledge is going to be used against David and against the town in the civil lawsuit. And I still have no indication that the town is not going to defend itself. I have not received any clear-cut word that the town is going to settle, and it makes me ill. It's really making me sick, because I don't know if we can get any worse on our financial situation in this town, and it's really concerning me. But I want to get to where I wanted to bring you tonight, and that is, I'm going to bring you first to the open meeting law complaint. Let's see if I can bring that up. Oh, wait a minute. Let me do something here. There. I didn't put my little logo in the corner, so there it is. How about that? All right, now I got to bring up share screen. See if I can do this right this time. Where are you? Oh, that's it. Let me just double check, make sure you can see that okay. Oh, hold on. I forgot. I don't want you to see my name and address. Or my name's okay, but I don't want you to read my address and phone number. I don't want the universe. I don't need to share that with the universe, do I? Here we go. Let's see. Okay, here it is. I'm going to go back to the form so I can see it. Hopefully everybody can see this okay. So I filed the complaint against the Townsend Board of Water Commissioners, specifying that Todd Melanson, the chair, was the one who actually committed the violation, or I allege committed the violation. And he's the only one, I mean, he's barely the only one that said anything during the entire meeting. And Jerry Bezikas, who's on the board with him, hardly was given an opportunity to say anything. She's had a couple things to say later on in the meeting, but Todd definitely dominated the whole situation. So the meeting that I'm complaining about is on October 20th, 2025, last Monday. So let me move up here to the description of the alleged violation. Todd Melanson, the chair, improperly added an agenda item under 1.4, Chairman's additions and deletions. Yes, Chairman, you cannot add, or you can delete all you want, but you cannot add stuff to your agenda on the day of the meeting unless it's an emergency. If the water department had a water main go on Main Street and it was causing significant problems for the community the morning of the meeting, then I would expect, and it would be perfectly right, perfectly okay for the Board of Water Commissioners to give an update on that emergency that occurred to everybody's water, and give an update and let the community know what they are doing to correct it, and we're sorry, and all that kind of stuff. That, we're fixing it, blah, blah, blah. This is how long you're going to have water problems. The water's going to be discolored. Everybody's used to that. And on, related to the urgent matter. But you can't add things just because you feel like it. You decided that Facebook has pissed you off and you want to tell everybody. And we have a meeting, and I just, as he said as he was presenting himself in this, I didn't have time to get it on the agenda because I needed to get some clarity. He didn't have time. He also said somewhere in there that he knew a couple days before that he wanted to put it on the agenda, but he didn't have whatever information he wanted to put out when the agenda was due, which he has to get an agenda in 48 hours in advance. And he failed to do it. So he just didn't add it at all. And then, as I said in my complaint, he spoke at great length, more than 10 minutes, regarding the state revolving funds used to fund the recent building of our water treatment facility and the process for repayment. There was no emergency or urgent need to have this presentation at the meeting. It could have been scheduled at a later time or at a public information session that could have been properly posted. The agenda did not mention anything about SRF or anything that he discussed under this section. Not a peep. And that is a big problem. Sometimes boards can get away with, well, we had something on the agenda somewhere else, and it kind of rolls with the punches on this. A little expand, but it's the same thing. And sometimes you can play that game with the Attorney General, but there is not one thing on the agenda that talks about the water treatment facility, funding it, SRF, or any other interesting acronyms that would fall under this. Nothing. So that's my speech. And what's important too is I'm going to jump over the next statement. I'll get back to it. But the legal definition here, that's why this is a problem, is the notice failed to meet the requirement of, quote, sufficient specificity to reasonably advise the public of the issues to be discussed at the meeting. And the reference is 940 CMR 29.031B. And I gave a couple of further references that the open meeting law determinations that are the same exact thing for anybody that wants to read them. And I gave the Attorney General and Todd a link for the YouTube video. Okay. And the important piece too, another important piece, which is not required in the law, but I wanted to emphasize the importance of the topic on why it was really, really additionally important to make sure that there was sufficient notice given to the public that this presentation, announcement, description, explanation, whatever Todd wants to call it, I call it a deposition, that he really should, the public really lost out on the ability to attend that meeting, either on Zoom or in person, to get this information when he put it out. So as it stands, everybody had to wait until yesterday, a whole week, in order to get this information. They might have been, when I show you the video, you're going to see there's plenty of room because they had an in-person meeting. They could have gone to the water treatment facility, which is where the water department offices are now, and listened to it in person. In fact, he allowed public comment during that meeting, and it would have been fully expected. And even people on Zoom, water commissioners do public comment. And so this is really horrible that they didn't give us any notice and just snuck it in secret onto the agenda. And so this is what I said in this complaint. The public is particularly interested in this topic due to an active Ethics Commission complaint and a civil lawsuit pending against the town regarding the conduct of the water superintendent on this issue. This topic needed to be properly posted, or it should have been omitted due to the pending litigation. So, and I said, I added those last few words, that a competent, knowledgeable, intelligent person working in a government where they're suing you, you have litigation. That's called litigation. And you hear all the time when you ask public officials or the press gets the microphone in somebody's face, do you have any comment on this thing, on this lawsuit? Oh no, we don't comment on pending litigation. You hear that all the time. We don't comment on pending litigation. And that's proper. That's proper. And that's normal. That's what you should be doing. Every time these people open their mouths, the town gets in deeper shit. And Todd, he had to be some kind of hero, he thinks, to make this statement, which is really difficult to even process. Like, what is he even talking about? He just went on and on using language that was hard for people to understand. Thankfully, somebody in the audience asked what some of the acronyms meant, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so used to using these acronyms." We don't care if you're trying to explain something to us. Explain it. Don't go off being so arrogant like you are. But I mean, I think he was really stupid to even do this presentation because of the litigation. And you're going to have to find a better way to deal with people that disagree with you on Facebook. And because I know that's what this is about. I feel that I know it. I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that's what got Todd all up in a, I don't know what to call it, but he's not happy, and he's got to explain everything. I know all this stuff, and I'm going to tell you. So I don't want anybody talking shit anymore. I want the truth to be out there. Oh, he's so full of crap. And he's like I said, he stumbled over his own words at one point, and I'm going to show that to you. Oh, man. So this is the open meeting law complaint that I sent in the email to Todd. I sent a copy to Jerry too, just in case Todd doesn't do what he's supposed to do, and that's send it to the other commissioners. And I'm required to send it also to the town clerk. That's part of the open meeting law, and which is explained in page 1 of the directions, which I didn't go through with you because we don't need to do that. I just wanted to give you the complaint. And then I asked, what did I ask? My expectation is I request that the board admit the violation and comply with the law in the future. There's not much I can do. I'm just looking for a determination that they did in fact violate the open meeting law. If Todd were to say, "Oh yeah, Cindy, you're right, we're sorry," because he apologized twice during the meeting for not putting it on the agenda because he had another emergency, or it was something. Oh, I'm a victim. Todd's a victim. He couldn't get it on the agenda for X, Y, and Z. Not going to cut it. Should have been on the agenda, or you shouldn't have opened your big mouth. So if he agrees that, yeah, I did screw up, I understand that we violated the open meeting law. We'll do better this time. Maybe, it would be nice, I think, if he wants to open his big mouth again and put the town at risk yet again, he should have another meeting and advertise it and say that he's going to be giving deposition. She's going to be giving testimony and sink the town even deeper into this problem, and let everybody know what's going on the lawsuit and the ethics complaint. He really should just say it out loud, because that's what he was trying to avoid saying. But that's what he was talking about. Oh my goodness. Yes. Really strange happenings here. Yeah. So now, if you would like, in fact, whether you do or not, I am going to pull up. Where'd I put it? Oh, I know. It's not a video file. It's a shared screen, I think. Here it is. Oh. Wait a minute. I lost my StreamYard Studio. There I am. Okay, let me. Oh, I know what I got to do. Oh, sorry. I get confused sometimes. I need to. Is that going to work?
I'd like to call the Townsend Board of Water Commissioners meeting of Monday, October 20th at 7 p.m. to order. This is being recorded by, TCAM is recording by Zoom and we'll upload it to YouTube. Let's see, roll call members present, Todd Melanson, aye.
Gerald Bazikis,
Dave, would you, just announce yourself for the record, please?
Oh, Dave Intron, Superintendent.
Okay. Jessica, no, she's always just recording. She doesn't participate.
no, take it.
1.4, chairman's addition and deletion. I actually do have an addition. I've seen a lot of information. I didn't have time to get it on the agenda because I needed to get some clarity. A lot of people don't seem to understand the process of the SRF and doesn't understand, in part probably on us, we probably didn't communicate that part of it enough or well enough, about the oversight of it. It is a extremely complicated multi-stage process. The utility actually has very little input in on it. So kind of in conjuncture, your engineer applies for.
Did you catch that? Oh, we don't have any input into that. So I don't know if he's trying to pass the buck and say, Townsend didn't have anything to do with the bidding process. Yeah, you did. I mean, I don't know what kind of rationale he's trying to say here, but that, oh, we had nothing to do with it, which it's bullshit. Anyway, let me go.
SRF. Then there's very narrow parameters of what they do because they judge them, they score them.
Forgive me.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Again, that's bad on me. It's a state revolving fund, so there's two of them. There's drinking water and clean water. Drinking water obviously is us. Clean water is wastewater. On the drinking water side right now, there are only two things that are scoring high enough to get projects approved. That is PFAS remediation and the removal of lead service lines. Water main work and stuff like that on its own is not getting approved for the most part. I haven't seen any. God, I wish I had. But your engineer, and our engineer on this was Ty and Bond, work conjunctly with both DEP and the Clean Water Trust, and they oversee the SRF. Okay. We went the extra step. In SRF projects of this magnitude, this dollar value, they ask you to hire an OPM, and it's the owner's project manager. They are a non-biased third party. We did that almost at the get-go. So, you're talking about projects like consolidating or restructuring water systems, provide treatment, installation or replacement of transmission or distribution systems. Those are just some of the things that get approved. Basically gets funded through federal grants and money put in by the state. And the 2% interest on a lot of these loans are meant so that it is sustainable, so you can increase what you can loan out. Because of the infrastructure bill, the way it was worded and set, anything for PFAS was set up to be a grant and a loan. And that's why you have the principal forgiveness and the 0% interest portions of it. So if you make the intended use plan or the IUP, you have to go through an entire process locally where you need to get Gardner support, get local approval to borrow. And in the meantime, SRF comes in and does an audit and make sure you can pay the
IUP stands for what?
intended use plan.
Okay.
Again, I'm used to this, so those anachronisms come out of my mouth and I apologize. So they go through and they make sure you can do what you say you're going to do about paying it back. Project gets evaluated. The loan provisions are set up. It determines whether your project's eligible or not. So it goes application approval, environmental and financial review. Then you get into the construction and disbursement. So everything that gets request for payments gets reviewed both by our engineer, the OPM, the Clean Water Trust, and DEP, and they all kind of work in conjointly or side by side. And then once the loan is closed, the job is done, the loan is closed out. Then it goes into the repayment. So Mass DEP and SRF role in the SRF funding is project selection, project oversight, SRF compliance. So you have to meet things like what helps you score and stuff for like disadvantaged communities, but you also have to meet women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, totals, and things like that. You have to have training hours for a certain number of new construction oversight engineers and things like that. But it gets into local borrowing authorization, project plan specification, required permits as necessary, federal cross-cutter, requirements. I don't even know what that means, but I'm going to assume that there's federal ties to what you can and can do. And then compliance with they oversight, additionally, compliance with the public bidding laws. So all three.
Did you catch that? Should I rewind it? He said the oversight includes compliance with local bidding laws. And that's the oversight. And if you're not compliant, he said you have to be in compliance with local bidding laws. He just said it. And I don't know, but they weren't in compliance with local bidding laws. That's what the whole problem here is. And Todd and everybody else in town government that is got their hands on this thing is fighting tooth and nail to say that, oh, we're saints, we didn't do anything wrong. This is bizarre that he said those words. Bizarre.
Of those groups kind of work together to make sure they're as open and honest as possible.
Open and honest as possible, unless you're Townsend, then the possible honesty is pretty low standard, apparently.
Our project OPM was Resilient Civil Engineers. They're very well known. They were one of 3 or 4 that we had that bid, and they were probably the most experienced with SRF, to be honest with you, and they were the lowest bidder. And they have a really good reputation in doing what they do. So I had seen some stuff on Facebook and like the rest of us have, and this isn't something the water.
Oh yeah, he did say Facebook. See, I knew it. He didn't say it at the beginning, so he was trying to avoid that. But now he's coming clean here. It's all about what they said on Facebook that's causing him stress. He always stresses about what people say. He has a very low tolerance for people disagreeing with him.
Department just came up with, put it together, put it out. We had very little to do with the bid.
We had very little to do with the bid. What a bunch of shit. I mean, no, you just told Shepco everything. You gave everything that you weren't supposed to give to one of the bidders. One of the bidders. Not all the bidders, just one of them, to ensure that Gary Shepherd would get the bid. And that's the only reason you would do something like that. We had nothing to do with the bid. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What we do is we tell the engineers what we want, what we think we want. Winston Engineers was the low bidder for the treatment plant itself. As everyone knows that, and it's part of the process is Shepco was the low bidder. The only additional change in that was the paving. And that was at the request of the town because the trench paving was so horrible that they requested that we extend it out to the middle of the road to the curb. So they went back and did that. But it still came in, that was the $200,000 for the extra paving came out of contingency. And it still didn't exceed the original quote.
So it's the most expensive part.
Yeah, it is. You both and I are on the same page on that. One thing about SRF projects as well is the only thing on the first part. So we were a multi-year. They only give out $15 million a year to each project. So if you're like, I think ours came to 21, 22 million at the
20.9.
all right, round number 21 million. They can't give you that all in 1 year. So the first year they gave us 14.9. Then the second part was $6 or $7 million. The 14.9, you have to go through bid pre-qualification, and the bids that come in, there are some that get disqualified because they have never done what you have done. There's an issue with the contractor that doesn't meet that they're bringing, the subcontractors they bring in or supplies they bring in don't meet your bid specifications. And then the actual bidding counts. Anything under 10, they don't do that. What they do is they assess who's done the work. Has it actually, part of it comes into, have they done it locally and was it successful? Do they have the financial backing and basically good credit rating? Do they have the bonds that will cover if anything goes wrong and things like that? And then it's the lowest bidder. And that's kind of what they use for qualifications. And that's for all 30B purchases, especially of this extent. So that is the basis of it. I will assure everybody that the first loan is closed out and is already in repayment. SRF is not going to take away the loan, nor the principal forgiveness. The only thing they take away, and I researched it, they've never taken the loan away. But what it does say in the documents is if you commit what they call monetary fraud. So if you cook your books
Monetary fraud includes bid rigging, just in case you didn't know.
beforehand and can't pay it back, then they would take you. If they found that out, they would take your funding. Or if they use you use the money that they gave you and used it for something other than what you applied for, then that to them constitutes fraud. Anything that is going on here in town does not reach that, and we have already received our principal forgiveness on the first loan. We're waiting on the note on the second one. And the status of the loan, since it's all the loans are finalized and I forget the word I want to use, but they're said and done. They're already in the books, done, and we've already started repaying them. I think the next payment.
That's right. They're not done. We're just entering into repayment. The plant hasn't been open that long. We're in repayment, so we still owe all this money on the terms that, the interest, the waiving of the interest, the fact that they are not done. This is like, think of it as an adjustable rate mortgage. You start making payments on your mortgage, you have an adjustable rate mortgage. If interest rates go up, your interest rate's going up. This is not a done deal if they determine that there's fraud. And he's been saying that, but just kind of glossing over it and trying to make everybody believe that no one in the town had anything to do with the bidding process, which is complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. And the guy in the corner, Dave Ajani, where you can barely see him, he's the guy on the hot seat on the Ethics Commission because he gave out the information to one bidder, not the other one. And Shepco wasn't quite the lowest bidder. Only in part of the bid was he the lowest bidder. So anyway, that's what RFS, we'll have to follow the lawsuit as it goes through, because I got a funny feeling we're not going to settle and we're going to be on the hook for this money. And that's my greatest fear.
Payment is due in January, Dave. Does anybody here have any questions about what I just said? And I'm sorry I couldn't get it on the agenda. It just took me a little while to put everything together.
No, might somewhat answer the questions, but they're ready to be seen. So we'll see.
All right, but that's
Yeah, no, it's good. Very good information.
so you had this. So it's
Feeling there was put together for a reason.
I've seen a lot of crazy things and a lot.
And I want to add, you know me, I got to interrupt. The two people in the back are citizens who came for a different reason. They did not know that this was going to be discussed. They're going to explain what they came for, and which I think is another interesting aspect of this meeting. But they're probably pretty happy. They're pretty glad that they just chanced up on this open meeting law violation and is able to hear the nonsense that Todd is going to put out. And at least, they're asking questions, but they're not. I mean, Todd's presentation was not clear for people. I mean, if I were there, I would have been asked, I would have had plenty to say. He probably would have thrown me out just because I was asking too many questions. I don't know. But yeah. So if this had been on the agenda, trust me, that room would have been full. And he probably would have had to cancel the meeting to move it to town hall. And then town council would have said, don't you dare have this meeting. I don't know. And this is Jess in the front here, facing us with the blue shirt, blended in blue with all the blue tables, taking notes. She's one of the administrative people that work at the water department. She used to work in the town clerk's office. Now she works here. Just for reference.
A lot of it is no, like me saying the letters. I know immediately and in my head what that means. You don't deal with it every day.
I'm not going to pretend that I do.
So this is, and to be honest with you, this is kind of like my.
See, Todd says, I got it all in my head. You don't. you got to know what's on my head, and I'm not gonna. I can't explain myself very well, so you just got to trust me that I know what I'm talking about. You'll never figure it out because it's all in my head. And no, if you're trying to explain something, you're only going to get Facebook more upset. And I think that Facebook is probably blowing up even more after this video was released by the town. This is a town. This isn't a video of mine. Now you're watching a video of mine, but this video that I'm showing you is the water commissioners meeting from last week, and it hit last night. So I suspect it is making the rounds on Facebook, the very thing that he was trying to upend. All right.
Second SRF project. I worked at the Chelmsford Water District for 17 years. I was on the initial part of the SRF. We picked an engineering firm because we were in the process of changing engineer firms. And so they did a request for proposals, and we went through that process. The best engineer was chosen. And the price has nothing to do with that part of it, or when you do something like that. And I got a firsthand look at what they do when they come in and they look at you, and how much oversight, especially because there was federal money involved,
Right.
how much actual checking everything was. If
You
there
have
was
all your ducks in a row, you have all your.
even the change orders, I mean,
You're talking federal and state money. right?
So I mean, even the change orders, Winston Builders put one in for a toolbox. And out of this huge change order, they picked the one toolbox and denied that part of it. So I mean, that's the depth, and that's something you guys
Peer
don't see.
reviewers are unbelievable. Right,
Correct. And so there's that part of it that a lot of people don't see nor understand. And part of mine was to educate the community in the regards to how we got the money, where it was spent, and that there were people actually overlooking at it. So that being said, I will end that unless there are any questions. And I appreciate your time and indulgence in doing that. And again, I apologize I couldn't put it all together. But I kind of saw some of the stuff like late Wednesday, early Thursday, and I had some emergencies I had to deal with.
So we had the stuff Wednesday, Thursday before Monday. So he could have posted this onto the agenda. He didn't have to list the whole diatribe he just made. He could have just put, discussion of the SRF funds for the water treatment facility on the agenda, and he could have said anything he wanted under that. But no, he's just full of excuses, and he knew what he'd be facing if he did put it on the agenda. I really do. I think it was deliberate omission, the more I think about it. Okay, so he's finishing up this conversation, then he's going to be moving into the other things on the agenda, which, oh yeah, I didn't bring that up for you. I'll show the agenda later, maybe. We'll see. We're going to talk about this guy's Ian Hunter, and he's got some concerns. I forgot the woman's name that's next to him, but all right, let's go.
Being said, do you have any questions, Sherilyn? No. Okay. Let's see. 5.1 approved minutes from September 8th, 2025. Did you get a chance to go over them? Do you have any corrections?
No, he's not.
I
I
didn't
know
either.
to correct to
Excellent.
accept the thing of the good. My voice is going. I make a motion to accept minutes of September.
Second, motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Jerome Zegers, yes.
All right, they are approved. 1.6 review correspondence letter from Mass Waterworks to the superintendent. It was in the agenda packet. Basically, the letter was a thank you from MWWA is Mass Waterworks Association. It is the association that advocates for water utilities statewide. There are different levels of associations. You have state level ones, you have regional ones. So we belong to New England Waterworks Association. And then the national one is American Waterworks Association. And they actually set the rules and standards by which we operate. So a lot of the stuff you see us do in terms of distribution, hydrant maintenance, flushing and stuff, all that stuff comes from their standards that they put together. And then it gets accepted. Basically, it says, Dear Dave, on behalf of Mass Waterworks Association, Education Committee would like to thank you for helping coordinate the hydrogen training held in the training room at the Townsend Water Treatment Plant on September 17th, 2025. It is a beautiful training room. And as I mentioned to you that day, Mass Waterworks Association is hoping to be able to hold more trainings at the location. Mass Waterworks is very fortunate to have your support. Your contributions of training space is important to Mass Waterworks Association, providing cost-effective trainings to water department employees at convenient locations across the Commonwealth. Thank you for your continued support. If you have any additional comments or recommendations, please contact me at the phone number for Dan LaPrade, who's the training coordinator for Mass Waterworks, and his email, and it's his signature. We as operators, and I am one, and Dave is one as well, we are required every 2 years to obtain a certain number of training credits. A lot of them, we have a big conference in Worcester. It's the spring conference, and that's where a lot of it happens. Over 2 days, there were 2 sessions, morning and afternoon, both days. But a lot of the times it's high level stuff. It's not really, most of our operators are hands-on. They're working on chemical feed pumps, backflows, what have you, hydrants. By hosting these, and because of the number of seats we have, we get a fair number of free seats. So our operators that go to get training don't have to go anywhere. We don't lose them for the whole day. And we don't have to pay as much as we would. I sent 3 of my operators here. And it was a good training. It was Dan's a very good educator when it comes to what we do in water. And from everyone that I talked to, and I talked to a bunch of the other superintendents who sent people, it was very well received. It was a good place to learn. And, I'll thank Dan for sending the letter, but that's what the letter was. 1.7, public comments. I don't think we have any, but we do have appointments. So appointments, 2.1, Ian Hunter, Witches Brook Fence and being in Zone 1.
That'd be me.
Yep.
And the explanation of beginning helped. I feel like the start of the fence, and it ends with some of ethics, but if I've written a speech since I was in high school, if you don't mind.
Nope.
I'm not trying to ruffle too many feathers or anything, but it just raises questions. So, hi, my name is Ian Hunter. I live at 27 Walnut Street in Timberley Park. And to be honest, I don't like change, especially when it doesn't seem to make any sense. Now, you might think I'm here just because I want the 90 feet of fence taken down in front of my house, the one that showed up the second week or the week of September 15th without any notice. But this isn't just about me. It's about our whole community and the ethics of the water department management. When I started asking questions about the fence, I had put out a petition. 93 other Timberley Park and nearby neighbors signed on. Most of them had questions that I did, and honestly, I didn't have any answers. That's why I'm standing here tonight. Here are some of the things people ask me. Did I, meaning me, do something wrong to warrant this fence? Why is this fence only in a small location? Why is it so close to the road? Whose idea was this? How will it affect property values? Does anybody really think this will stop vandalism? Isn't this just a waste of money? And maybe most of all, who's paying for it? I called the water department when the fence first went up. I was told there's nothing I could do, and that the superintendent had made up his mind and was going up to protect the water supply and prevent vandalism of water department property. I completely understand. But that didn't make sense. They already put up a fence last year inside the Hickswell area to protect the wellheads and buildings. I tried to talk directly to the superintendent, but I could only get through to office staff. So you're right. Here's what I want to point out. The stormwater runoff from nearby roads, driveways, yards ends up in Witches Brook is way more pollution of concern than anything inside the Hickswell area that might be left there, which, if you haven't noticed, I kind of clean up all the time. If the town doesn't have the money to finish the entire fence, then don't build Target. This is accomplishing nothing until it can be finished. It makes the neighborhood look like an industrial zone. Based on where I'm just pointing. The fence sits practically on the road. It feels like it's aimed right at me, even though I know it's probably not. Since it's in front of my house, literally property line up to property line. Also, I'd like to consider the proximity to the road with snow piles over the winter. It just seems like it was an ill-conceived, just whip it up kind of idea. The location just makes no sense. Furthermore, upon a simple Google search of the superintendent, I've learned a little bit more about how decisions was made, and I can't help but feel like this was a bad call. Show power of a thoughtful decision that may appear like it's interested the community and affecting our water source, but in fact doesn't. It appears we will possibly be dealing with overruns from the water treatment plant construction and decisions made in the process of that construction. We're already paying more every quarter for our water bills, and now we possibly have another deficit for the actions of the superiors in the water department. We already buy special trash bags and stickers because of the previous budget mistakes within our town, and I don't want any more. I don't want anyone to have to spend more tax dollars on a fence that doesn't protect anything, doesn't look good, and no one asked for. I already had a highway detour by my house for 9 months and a water treatment plant for the water treatment plants to be made, and a roller every Sunday on the back road on South Shore. My dog doesn't even want to drink the water. That should tell you something. Please think of the community. So in total, I'm asking for removal of the fence and stop any future construction until the public is properly informed and given say. Town officials can't make decisions for the use of taxpayer dollars without approval of the people that are actually footing the bill for it. And then with the commission's permission, I'd like to open the floor to any neighbors, because this isn't just about one property. It's about how our town communicates, how our money's spent, and how much respect we show to the people who live here. It's a matter of fairness, transparency, and respect. Thank you for your time.
Could I answer some before we have comments?
Yes.
Okay.
I really feel bad for this guy, and I feel bad for the neighborhood down there. I didn't get it. I was gonna go down and check out this fence, but I didn't get a chance today, and now it's dark, so I can't get out there to do it now. But I think that it sounds horrible. I know that when the water commissioners put the fence up like a year or so ago, that they did have some vandalism, which we're going to hear about a little bit of that. But I think there are more issues. I think they've got a half-ass fence up there that sounds like it needs repair. It's not even up there completely, and the fence is not being maintained, nor are the grounds around it. So it looks the actual. It sounds like the grounds, the grass or whatever is just growing wildly, and nobody's maintaining the area around the fence, so that the neighborhood looks like crap. And I think that's what this guy's trying to say. It's like, what are we doing here? And it looks badly for the abutters, which he is. It sounds like a very direct abutter. And when you see a fence up anywhere, it's kind of hard to see, whose fence is that anyway. And so it looks like he's not maintaining his yard. That's my assumption. I am going to get down there and probably follow up with this, and maybe I'll get some pictures water department property is public property. So if I step on their yard, they can't do anything unless they're going to arrest me for terrorism, for trespassing on a facility that's subject to being a terrorist threat. Who knows? But yeah, but I'm gonna check this out and see how bad it is. And it's probably pretty bad if people are coming up to the meeting still complaining about this fence. And all right, let's continue on.
First of all, this board for about 9 months has on and off discussed the fence. I have got, God, between working in the labs and working in municipal water, probably 30 years about water quality and wellhead protection.
Here he is bragging again about his intelligence, that I've got 30 years of water quality. Who cares? And he's sounding like many of our other town officials. Well, if you just pay attention to all the board meetings, you'll know you don't need to know anything else that's going on in town. And he just said that for 9 months, we talked about this at our meetings. You should have been paying attention. What's the matter with you? Blame the citizens for everything. And all transparency, you don't need any more information than what they're putting out at meetings. If you just watch all their meetings, you won't have any questions about anything. And if you do, then it's not something you need to know about, because we didn't cover it. So you don't need to know. You don't count. That's the town's official response to everything. That's why I'm so up in arms about transparency. It's a problem here, and it's getting worse.
It's not so much, yes, the vandalism was a little bit of it, I'll be honest with you. But what concerns me is the community does not have another $5 to $10 million. And why I say that, and why I supported the fence and do, is if we change the vegetation impact of that forest bed inside there, not so much the runoff. The runoff, you're worried about in the runoff, that's going to get caught on the top. That's not going to intrude down. We have 2 gravel packed wells in there. They're 65 feet deep, roughly 65 to 40. They're packed with gravel, and there's a screen on the bottom. It is well known that if you start to wipe out the flora and fauna in there, you will start to increase mineral content. They call them contaminants, but it's not. They're naturally occurring minerals. The ones I'm worried about are iron and manganese. You see that dark
They pick up
soil.
the leaching. Yeah, they pick up the leaching.
Yeah. The manganese and iron will come through. Okay. Our PFAS treatment is not set up that we couldn't prove that we would need that. Okay. What will happen is that iron and manganese will bind up the GAC, and we will need to build a iron removal plant. The object of putting the fence up, and it's not just going to be the 20 feet you're talking about. We're trying to do it so we don't have a large ticket item to hit us all at once, right as we're getting used to paying the loan. So they're trying to do it section by section. It is so we don't change that. so we don't change and the trails people make in there and things like that change the amount of iron and manganese that are coming through. Because if we do, the PFAS will stop working. We will have the MCL violation, the notices, and we'll have an order of consent to remove the iron and manganese. You're probably talking about
And not just those
Impressive. No, it is between for what we pump, it's probably anywhere from $5 to $10 million additional. And that's if we can find room around here to put it. So
The Hex well has been under your control for how long now?
it was bought just before I became commissioner, so
15 years.
about 15 years. But it wasn't pumped to the extent that it was. So what happens when you add treatment? So you have your normal pumping. If it was pumping right to the distribution system, you end up having more capacity than when you send it to a filter system. So you lose some of your capacity. We have the same amount of volume that needs to go out, so you pump them harder. Okay. Also, those wells are old. And as they get old, they seem to have less. If you don't maintain them, like we are, Dave and I we're in agreement on pulling the wells and cleaning them a lot more than they ever were before. First time we did it, we couldn't recover the well pumps. They were completely caked.
A couple
And
of years ago.
no, this is going back to when we first shut down Harbor Trace. So you're going back 2017.
Yeah,
And we did it again.
time.
Yeah, but we did it again and they were bad again. So what they did is they did a more in-depth cleaning. There's things that you can inject down into it. I'm just,
No, I completely
I
understand. So
believe me, I can talk about water way too
your-
much, so.
Your point of vegetation and this, that, and the other thing, those trails have been there. I mean, I've only been here for about 7 years and it sounds like they date back a lot longer than that. They really gotta change this. No one doing new stuff or anything like that. And so paving back there, that doesn't get rid of vegetation, putting, half us grass down, that doesn't, and then the trees you guys removed for that whole thing to happen. It's way less impact than I'm thinking.
So what I will say is we should have done a better job of communicating it. My mistake was, and I don't think it's ego. I really thought if people wanted to know, they would watch the meetings, but we did talk about this in depth about protecting the wellheads. I went so far as
What's that buffer zone?
400-foot radius. It's a 12-acre circle around each wellhead.
Okay.
I called DEP, Kathy Baskin at the Bureau of Water Resources, Mass DEP, and got confirmation that the department and the operator in charge can put up a fence. Sometimes we are required to do what some don't want us to do. But I'm looking at it quite honestly, and not what you guys have done, but it's the continuation going over time. Okay. It seems as the next group comes in, things get taken another step. Not having in an area like Timberley Park where roads already go through the zone 1. Our zone 1 goes across Ash Street into the woods on that side. Part of, I think it's Walnut, Spruce. The roads are in there. So we are only, and I'll be honest with you, for me, it's trying to save the community another $5 to $10 million we don't have. It's in our operating budget to do a section of it and to get it done. I've asked Dave to look at, there's a water,
So do you have any idea for restoration planting if you guys fence off the whole thing?
we had a couple of things. Yes. Let us get the fence up first.
How long
But
is the fence gonna take to actually complete?
I don't know. It depends
That's
on,
where I get hung up.
well, and then,
That's where I
but,
get real hung up. I'm just saying, I
Well-
really do.
well, and I understand that, but how do I balance out doing something so we don't have to spend a lot more money later? And trying to balance it out with everything else we have to do. We have to do, right now, that's why they're working on the gates. They're doing the, what they call a water model. Once they turn the gates, you find out which way the waters are going, you check the change of pressures and
It's
everything.
part of the flushing process.
Well, no, it actually isn't. This is actually going to tell us how the system works, because we've
We can
changed.
do it at the same time. Sorry, that is the only part.
But the main reason, you set up a UDF, correct? The UDF is secondary, and I professionally, I'm 50-50 on the UDF, okay? In Brookline, where they're all straight and it's yeah, good go. Communities like us,
Sorry to interrupt. I mean, you to leave.
Yes, ma'am.
Matt, you guys should. maybe
No,
be
but then you can
done,
speak.
we'll talk.
But-
Okay.
You saw it when you came in?
I'm sorry, sir.
You saw it when
It's right out there on your left.
Right behind that wall.
Oh, thank
So
you.
the little basic back, the big bottom line, the little basic fire and I'm not trying to poison neighbors' waters.
No, I
I
did-
just don't know.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
I had a good idea, and I just wanted to make it less intrusive. Could we paint it a different color if we painted
Painting
it?
galvanized fence, good luck.
I
Have
know.
it last.
All right.
You already made that decision, so that one's, but,
Okay, so I'm just,
I just said if you did polycoated vinyl, you might have a shot in hell, but that's just gets you get up even
Yeah,
more money.
yeah,
Just all more money.
we were
I
trying
get
to
it.
do.
Believe it, it's kind of what everybody's here about.
What?
What color is it?
That's the question I've got.
Galvanized. So, but I would say that, you know, it's what we're supposed to do in an area as compact.
As mandated by the state and the Department of Environmental Protection.
Yes, see that.
All right, I guess I get the transparency and I'm not gonna.
No, and I apologize.
It's just, we're Timberlake Park, I didn't want, I was about a fence. It was about a fence and then
Mhm.
just other things and money and this being tossed around. And I love the fact that we have a water treatment plant and this, that, and the other thing. And I just wanna, I don't know, I didn't expect this to be an ethics thing, but I just wanna make sure everything's on the everything's on the up and up here. That's
No,
really-
it was definitely not an ethics.
I'm a selfish person and I'm not exactly the greatest person in the world, but I've taken on 93 people and plus more that probably heard about it. I'm just making sure that this is all figured out.
No, and it
Because
is.
this has been a bit of a catastrophe in people's minds.
What I will take the hit on is not better
And
communication.
I appreciate that at the beginning of this.
So that is on me. We did discuss it in open meetings many times.
And I'm
So,
sorry that I didn't,
So that-
I didn't
that's-
know it was the second Monday of, I didn't.
well, sometimes it is, it's,
Well, yeah.
with everyone's schedules the way it sometimes it get moved around. But what I will say is communicating in water terms can be difficult. But I'll take the hit. We should have been better and let you guys know.
You want
what
me
was
to
coming.
start talking about masonry to you? Exactly. No,
Right.
it's gonna be, it's gonna.
Right, and so that part of it, but I thought I guess that's I can't say the word, naive.
Naivety, yeah.
Thank you, that's the word I was looking for. I assumed because we had discussed it in multiple meetings.
Yeah.
That, and the meeting minutes don't really capture everything we talk about, to be honest with you. They capture the basic essence of what everything that gets discussed, but for me in water quality, it happened, I'll be honest with you, it happened to me in Chelmsford. Our main producing well had 4 gravel packed wells, probably 100 feet apart. We had people initially, and we didn't do anything about it, made the next trail through the wood, in and around. It progressed from that to dirt bikes to ATVs, something that produced probably a third of the water for the entire district. The district itself has 3 treatment plants and supplies water to roughly 35 to 40,000 people.
Is this Chelmsford you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm talking.
No, I'm sorry, well, I'm talking
No,
about my,
Townsend.
yeah, no,
What is this feed? Obviously now.
so I was, my concern is having the same thing happen where the iron and manganese levels increased and it made the well, for a time, almost unusable, and it was a third of the supply. Similar with this, we're kind of using the Witches Brook waters to extend the life of the storage, the GAC by blending out or lowering the PFAS that's in the Harbor Trace well, so that the GAC will last longer. We don't have to change it out as often. If those get filed with iron and manganese, that is not going to be the case. And like I said, we'd have to build a plan. So my whole focus on that was making it so that the town does not have to expend money it doesn't have.
Is it just gonna prolong that? We all know, I went to school for plant soil and insect science,
Yeah.
took a lot of soil classes, so you're telling me probably what's gonna happen, deforestation, so it's
Well,
not, you can't reverse it. You can't reverse how far that's made it into the soil level. You
No,
can't.
but it's something that will, I guess, prolong. How long, I can't tell you.
And you do have a continue when it does, if and when it does happen, you do.
We know what we would have to do, and that would be something that the iron and manganese plants are pretty much.
I put them in on a smaller scale in a wellhead.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stain my stonework and.
Correct.
So
So usually they use pressure filter, they use,
to a homeowner, it's $60,000, just to put that back. If you want to have one of those systems, a rental, put it here.
so that's, yeah. But this is using permanganate to oxidize it out instead of like using a softener. The pressure filters are usually about.
Cleanable, they're cleanable, not.
Well, they're about 12 feet in diameter. They look like a big sub.
Yep.
So, and they're a huge energy sink. It's like I said,
Okay.
I'm just,
So I guess you don't know, so let's start with that. I'm not getting rid of the fence.
Thank you.
When is the fence going to be completed?
um,
Is that money that's already set aside, or are you setting aside our money so we don't have to spend more money down the road? I guess.
a little bit of
Kind
both. I guess a little bit of both.
yeah.
We were trying to fit it in so it would fit in our everyday operating budget. So that there was a section.
You're talking about a lot of fence if you're gonna.
I
put
know,
90
I know.
sections.
But I also talked to Dave about applying for, oh, crap, I'm not gonna say it right, but there is a watershed protection grant. And this does fit within those parameters again, that would allow us to do, a majority of the fence all at once.
So we can get that grant. Before we get too far, if there's anything you want to say, Rachel. let us know.
Rachel?
Oh, thank you. So I moved here in 1998,
Mhm.
from Chelmsford. And, from as far back as I can remember, that was opened to me and people or whatever. I don't really get much into the water thing because it's not, I can't, I don't have the brain, whatever. But I kind of feel like, and I'll be the first to own it. When there was vandalism about 4 years ago, a family member of mine was a part of it. We paid a fine, and I have no shame on admitting that. But that person has grown, and we're not going through that anymore. So my biggest thing is, you know, the water department, all the construction, things that you guys have are all like set off, they're closed in. And one of my biggest things is I loved walking through there, like, you have a path and the kids made jumps out of there and it was great. But now it's like, going around, and I kind of feel like we live next door to each other, like legit. I'm at 29, he's at 27. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but I do feel like he took it kind of personal that it was starting to be built in front of his property instead of mine, which it should have been built in front of mine,
And I'll
originally. But it's sad because the look isn't
what it was.
what it was. And
Correct.
I know you guys have a lot of other things that you're looking at, water, etc. But I feel like if that part of all that, the things you guys have, forgive me, but backhoes, whatever. If they're protected by barbed wire, why are we doing the whole?
Well, first of all, it was never directed at anyone.
No, I know. Listen,
But for the
I don't
other
think
part, you
anything
have to,
personal.
but the other part you have to realize, in '98, it was owned by a private operator.
Was that,
Yeah,
so
it
we
was
moved
Hicks.
here in
It was Hicks.
98.
We didn't buy it until 2015 or earlier.
Okay.
I remember
2010.
what is that?
So it was, yeah, it was. That's why they call it Witches Brook. It's the Witches Brook Water Company. So that whole distribution system in Wells was owned by a private
It was
entity.
just for Kimberly Park. originally.
Yeah, originally. The story on it is, well, that's
Yeah.
neither here nor
Yeah.
there. But that was set up as a private entity, so they weren't there. Those sort of private, or what they called, they're small community systems. Don't ask me to tell you what
Yeah,
that
they don't
is,
regulate. they don't
but it's
regulate.
TNTCs, and they're not regulated the same. When that became part of the water department, you did have different regulations come into place,
Uh-huh.
or not maybe different regulation, but definitely different, oversight. They're a lot more stringent on public system, okay?
Okay.
I have a letter from the Bureau of Watershed basically saying that we had a duty and a responsibility, basically, and a right to put the fence up. And that as long as we don't impede the roads, what I will speak to the community is we will do a better job about trying to work together on it. If we can change the type of fence that's on there. And,
At this point,
well,
Can I interrupt you? But not-
oh, hold on, there's someone behind me.
Kevin,
Well, let the,
Really quick, super quick, promise. I feel like, and please forgive the terminology, but I feel like one of the biggest things that I was always proud of was the openness across from my
one of the
road,
only
right?
places in it-
It
besides First
wasn't
Street
about,
here.
like leaf blowing, any of that, whatever. But like, to me, it looks ghetto. It looks like I'm in the city. I understand you all have to do what you gotta do, and I never come to town meetings. The last one I came to was in Townsend about getting a dispensary here in town. And that was years ago, and I'm like, no. And I've changed my perspective on that. But like, I just feel like it should be a little bit more open, like the kids go over there and they're on their bikes. And
A lot of
we
kids-
want the
a lot
dog
of kids,
harmless.
well, but the thing is they should never have been in there in the first place.
They've been in there for so many years.
Yeah.
So but I've got two things, and then I'll get Kevin. I've got two things. One is it's state regs. It's also a town bylaw. It's in the town bylaws. So Kevin, you can put your hand down and speak.
Yes. Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. I just want to touch base on a couple things with regards to the Timberlake Park, because I'm the one that has seen a lot of the stuff. Beyond 4 years ago, I mean, just last year, we had our backhoe destroyed, all the glass in it got busted. I personally have found gas cans. I found a jug of oil that had been dumped on the trail. I actually dug it up with a shovel to remove the oil. If that gets into our wells,
100%. And Kevin,
I can't even imagine
You're right there.
how,
Sorry, only one
excuse me?
person at a time.
I'm just speaking of a couple things that maybe people aren't aware of. The lawnmower that we have, that got completely destroyed and is now no longer operational. So, as a department, we had to get another lawnmower. Never mind the building being graffitied. I just think it's important that the water department discuss everything that's happened in there.
And
And
you have now another fence, correct? That you put up last year? On the interior, correct?
yeah, but that's not where the oil and the gas,
The vandalism, sorry, as opposed to the vandalism.
that was by the building. But on the trails where the bikes are, that's where we found the oil, the gas cans, the liquor bottles, all the other stuff is near that fence, near the entrance in the woods. So I just think it's important. I know I had mentioned it to you as well when we had talked. I just want to, because it wasn't said tonight, but if people are listening, I think it's important that we're open and honest about everything that's happening over there. Just so everybody's aware. It's, I had kids, I still have a child that would love to go down there. Her friends used to go down there and meet, and I told her she cannot go down there anymore for public safety, for water, for the safety of the drinking supply. With the oil and the gas and the other stuff that I've seen in there, that was the reason I was supportive. Because, quite honest, I drink the water too. Not only being the general foreman, I live in Timbley Park, and I know what it would take to recoup and recover if that type of stuff happened. And I just wanted to touch base on that. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I really appreciate that because like I said a few minutes ago, about 2 years ago, I can absolutely take 100% credit when the new backhoe came in. It was a family member and 3 of their friends that destroyed it. And I took full accountability for that and their actions. Other since then, they have not been allowed in there. They haven't gone there. I apologize. It doesn't make it right, but I am here to admit that fault on them. And it does, it puts it all on, put all of us in jeopardy.
So-
And I apologize for that, but I'm not going to sit here and, I don't know what other children around the neighborhood do. But I do take accountability for my own.
No, and I appreciate that. And so I saw, Mr. Fitzpatrick, you had your hand up. If you would. unmute.
Yeah. So I live on Walnut Street. So I guess my question is, with the rest of the fence, is there gonna be any consideration for are you guys gonna clear out all the brush that's right along the road, along Spruce? Make an effort to make it presentable. Because what's on Walnut Street now is embarrassing and a disaster, quite frankly.
Okay. We will take that under consideration. We'll try and meet what you expect of it. We get summer interns. We could use them to help clear some of it up and clean it up. We have to do, I know it affects you guys the most because it's right there.
It's for the greater,
So
I debated so many times. Are you freaking kidding me? Because I knew it was gonna come down to this, the public water drinking supply.
Correct.
I completely understand that. And regardless of what is found in this, I'm not gonna win this argument. Just how many other pound of gravel wells do you have that are feeding this? Did you think about the pound of gravel well before you decided to feed this water system with it? There's a lot more questions I can go down the road here on thinking things through. And just these simple solutions that you think can just be done, you need to reach out to the community.
No, and
I trust you guys with our water supply. I honestly do. And that's really, I think you're all very qualified in that thing.
so we've
You
done,
just don't think you're above someone to not bring
No.
something to their attention you think might come back down the.
no, and
That's
that's
really the big thing.
that's,
That's where I've ended on this one.
no, and you know what? I'll take the bite again. I assumed from the meetings that the word would have been out there, that the communication that we were putting a fence up. That's on me for not directing Dave and other people to do a better job of communicating, inviting you in. We've done, and I don't know why I overlooked it. We've done community things before. There's streets off of Highland that have, because of the water main they're on, had discolored water, almost stagnant water.
This is pretty disturbing as I'm listening to this, because I know that the people that live down there that have been daily and directly impacted by all the construction and the roads being torn up and everything with the water. And I guess it really wasn't very typical, but there was no community outreach. The Board of Water Commissioners, as well as other boards in this town, they think we had a meeting, it was a public meeting, and that's all we need to do. That's, if people want to know what's going on, they got to watch the meetings. That's the official town word out there. There's no such thing as community outreach in the town of Townsend. And since I've lived here, there never has been. And they just don't have any clue as to how to do it. And they don't want to do it. And it's, Todd's making all kinds of promises. Oh, I'm sorry. We really thought everybody was watching our meetings. And it's just nuts. Totally bonkers what I'm hearing. And it's sad. I mean, they have plenty to complain about. Plenty. Yeah. All right, get back here.
To a certain degree. And it wasn't anything that anyone here had done. It was just something left over from another time. And we worked with them. We couldn't do it all at once. We've done a lot of things before we got the SRF that we did within what money we had. And we expended almost everything we had to make sure, because when we shut Harbor Trace off, yeah, we were relying, we beat the heck out of Witches Brook. We brought Cross Street back online. The well out at Main Street was a ancient tubular well field. We actually put a brand new gravel pack online there. That helped us get through. Well, the tubular well field helped us get through. We didn't put that in until we were in a better shape this way.
Point of order.
Yep.
We have to stick to.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you for keeping me online. But no, I go offline. I understand what you're saying. I hear it. The board will endeavor and the department will do it better to communicate with the public. But our sole focus was, one, to protect the source.
I just hope we see those benefits. I do. In a timely fashion. It's my biggest thing, right? I'm just really 12 feet of fence, or 90 feet of fence, cutting it right now and anything. So
I understand that.
I just want to see the change that we're essentially paying for.
If we can
And if it is, that's great. If it gives us 20 years opposed to 15, that's fantastic. I hope to still be living here when that happens, but
my goal is for it to be a lot longer than that. Given what they're doing with the wells and the well treatment now, I expect that if we can keep what is there now, because we're always seeing we already had some iron and manganese.
no, and I'd love to see the case study if in an alternate universe, if I could keep the trails and see how long it lasts, and then I could put a fence up around the whole thing immediately tomorrow and see how long it lasts. But that's neither here nor there. Again, I actually could run home. But thank you guys for hearing me out. And just make sure everybody's on the same page on what's going on and people are held accountable for their actions.
Yep.
You guys have a good night.
You too. I do not see any other hands. So,
We're okay.
well, over here. No, it's the same set over there. Okay. Sorry, excuse us. This is the first time using the room as a,
Right. Listen, I don't.
as a thing. Say again?
Do we have another phone?
Let me see.
2.2.
Yes, 2.2.
2.2.
Christine Bouchard. Thank you for sitting with us and going through that. I'm sorry.
Can I interrupt really quick? But super quick?
What?
Just
2 seconds.
2 seconds, I promise you. I think a lot of the animosity or the high, energy is because the fence was started to be built in front of his property and some fine, which is like side by side. Where I just told you guys that, one of the vandalisms have come from my own child. And so I have to keep the peace. I live next to people
No.
and I don't want to make waves.
That's fine.
So
But,
Let me answer that. It had nothing to do with houses. It had to do with the path. It centered on the path.
So I love the path and I can't.
that's,
Point of order.
we have to move on. You
All right, move on.
said your
All right,
speech. and stuff.
all right.
So let's, Christine, thank you for sticking with us. It's in the package.
I'm gonna save you guys some time.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna save you guys some time. I appreciate all that you've done working with me. I've used this app, Ion Water, and I've actually discovered I had a leak back in April as well. But I'm not gonna ask you guys to do anything for it. You've got enough of your problems going on. You don't have to deal with mine. It's my house, my water, my responsibility. So,
I appreciate that. We do, I appreciate that. And, I appreciate you, waiving that, I guess. But I appreciate you sticking on and listening and saying that. The Ion, for anyone that knows, the Ion Water app is probably one of the best tools you'll have to be able to control your own water. Your water bill is strictly based on the amount of water you use. The more water you use, the larger demand on the system, the more impact it has on the system.
Okay.
Ion Water tells you if you have a leak, Basically, once the meter gets set up, it sets a baseline for your usage. If there's a change in that it doesn't recognize, it tells you it has a leak, it'll come to your phone. Or
Okay.
I don't even know, I don't know if it sends an email, but I know it does send text.
Both.
Oh, it does both, okay. So if someone really wants to do that, that is a great tool. Another tool for water leaks, and then I'll be done, is food coloring in your toilet. That is probably the quickest way you'll find out if your flapper is letting loose, and you can lose as much as 800 gallons a day through a toilet, on average. So that is something I recommend to people, but Ion Water app will definitely catch it a lot before that. So
Okay.
that was, the longer you let the food coloring sit, the better off you get in the chance to catch the leak and stuff, but it loses its ability to hold its seal, and it's an infrequent one, and you can lose a lot of water.
Mr. Chairman, this,
Yep,
for clarification, eye on water is EYE on water, not eye on water. It's eyeball, eye on water.
okay.
Clarification.
Think you're really getting the shit tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, that one's deserved,
Sorry
that
about
one's
that.
deserved, but no, because she's gonna handle the phone calls, that's why
No,
Jess speaks
good
up.
luck to her. That's why she's so sharp at
So, in that term, Christine, thank you for bringing up Eye on Water. And it's a really, really good tool. A lot of the meter companies are trying to duplicate it, and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. Please stay engaged with us. We do try to do what's best for everyone, to be quite honest with you. We're not always successful, but I think we do a really good job.
She looks tired. She's right. She's like, I'm right.
Listen, I'm a water
Stop.
geek. I can talk about water until today.
I don't,
So,
water of all things, you talk about water.
yes, ma'am. My wife gives me a 5-minute window every night when I come home. And that's if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else, Christine?
No, I am all set. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too,
Yes,
bye-bye.
ma'am. 2.1s, none. Meeting business votes to be taken, none. Oh, that's the old one. Wait a minute. I'm in the wrong one. I'm in the minutes. All right, so we jumped down with 2.1, 2.2. We're now at 4.1. Jerry has 2 points, 4.1 and 4.2, and I see the floor to her.
Okay, well, basically what I was asking is what we have coming up for 26, but I've heard it all. So you kind of answered that one for me.
Well, good enough. So we have, so everyone knows, we have the master plan, which the master plan goes through and it'll show us how the system's working. Because we ran the line out to Route 13 off of Emery, the system is now looped, and there's 2 reasons. Makes the water quality better,
Mhm.
but also the original line goes underneath the Squanicook. If we had lost that line, everything we did here would not get to most of the town. So now if this breaks, it's not an immediate loss. You just shut the valve until we can replace it, and all the water would go out that way.
Okay.
But it changes the way the whole system works. Pressure, the way that we fill the tanks, everything like that. So what that'll do is it'll help us set up a flushing plan, as the gentleman mentioned, but additionally, it will show us how the system works. So if we notice something happening, we have an idea of what's going on. Then we have the water rate study. It was one of the first things we did when I came on board. We hired someone who specializes in setting rates. They look at what your debt is, your income coming in, what your history of rate increases. I think we had gone 18 years without a rate increase when I came to the board, and it was a single block rate.
Okay.
One of the things we needed to get the SRF loan was to have a tiered rate system, so that the people that use the most put the most demand on the system, so they end up paying them. One of the things we did take into consideration were farms, the schools, and large businesses in town, like Sterilite. We capped them at tier 2 because we have enough trouble getting businesses in. We didn't want to force either of those out. But those are some of the things. The fence, the allotment for fence for this fiscal year, I believe do we have another one coming in the spring, or
Say it again?
the money we put aside for the fence for this fiscal year? Have we already done what we're going to do for this fiscal year, or do we have another one coming?
We're gonna see what our finances are in the spring.
All right, good enough.
So you're talking about the fence by me?
What?
Are you talking about the fence by Walnut?
Yes.
Take your time.
Because
Take your time.
we had to put the section of fence up on Pittsburgh Road.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that now 2.2, no, 4.2, excuse me. The screen on the water feature fund.
Right, it's not.
The screen on the,
No, up front here.
oh, they put
No,
the fence up. The green fence is up in front
No,
of
no,
the.
no, 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 that's what we're talking about. The
The little pond in
water-
front.
Oh, that's over there.
Right,
No, it's right.
it's right over there.
Pond's
It's over there. I put it in the right direction the first time.
So that's what, all the pumps have been pulled and everything for the winter.
So you're gonna pull the water, and then in the spring,
Most of the water's already gone.
So,
Well, not today, didn't,
There's not much left in it.
so what they're gonna do is we'll put the screen up in the spring,
but the screen was.
I have it in my,
right?
Fine, that's fine.
because right now we don't want anything.
I wonder if you should take that water out though, but just
Right.
by siphoning it out.
Well, that's what I just said. We took most of the water out already.
But then because the stream, the
Yeah,
roof fills in
I
it.
know
We
it
got a
does,
good
yeah.
inch.
Oh,
Thank God we
yeah.
got an inch.
Excuse me, I just have a quick question about like
Yeah.
these ponds, screens, whatever. So, when I moved in like 20 years ago or 22 years ago on Walnut Street, right, at 29, across the street, there used to be like a little pond, like kind of back in the woods.
Mhm.
I don't know if y'all remember, but, it dried up. Was that like drained or did it dry up? Like,
Dried up.
Probably dried up.
it dried up, yeah, 'cause it wasn't very big. It was kind of small, so I didn't know like,
No, but you also have to realize the wells
Pumping in the
probably
water,
weren't
just
pumping
wondering.
as much as they were.
yeah.
So, so it's, that I
I
can't
just
tell you why it's
didn't
right
know,
up,
like,
other than Lake Champlain, you can walk across now. So it's been dry.
Yeah, I don't typically do, but I'm just wondering.
So, mine is 4.2, 4.3. We talked about it a lot.
Mhm.
But I do, it's, the definition, of a zone 1 is a 400-foot radius, around the public water supply well. It's to protect the wellhead, from any potential source of contamination, whether natural or man-made. Control, the public water supplier must own and have control over the zone 1 property. Allowed activities, only water supplied activities are allowed within the zone 1, and that's per the reg.
Okay.
Prohibited activities, sewer line storages, where the roads already go through it, what we have left, we have to protect as best we can. So, and then you get into zone 2, which is a larger area, which we actually have no control over, and stuff like that. So I had a more in-depth explanation, but I think we killed it in the first one.
You did mention the ball field. The ball field is not in zone 1.
No, well, but the initial part of the road, not the full ball field, but the zone 1 does
The road
cross.
leading, the road leading to the ball
Actually,
field,
yeah, that initial part is part of
but
it.
the ball field
You
is,
can go online, by the way, on Mass DEP, and they have a public water supply well map. You can actually see the defined zone 1.
See, like again, I'm not, like, I worry about the water, but like, I'm not big into water. I'm worried about like more of like where we can walk the dogs, where the kids can go. And like that, I
That's-
remember
but-
like years ago, I stepped on.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you. We've already gone through that. That topic's closed.
I was talking about the ball field, but got it.
But no, the ball field, I don't think you can, if that's not in ours, I don't think we own it. The town owns it, so that's.
No, we
outside
own
the
Okay.
we own it.
Okay, so anyways, maybe I have an idea and I will talk about it
Fine,
later.
take your time.
But anyways, Laura, you don't have anything on the agenda, but do you have a liaison report from the Board of Selectmen?
Is she muted?
Yeah, she is.
She
She might be
I was
doing,
trying to unmute.
Oh, she's gonna need a.
there you go, Laura.
I've been here all along. I heard you from the beginning until now.
Okay.
I want to thank you all so much. Todd, in particular, all your experience that you were able to explain things tonight. I could never have done that. The only thing I would mention as your liaison is that I believe you have a vacant position on your board.
Yes, we do.
And has that been posted?
It was originally, it has, it was when it became open. They both were posted.
Well,
I
it would
don't
still
know-
be valid,
Yeah, so it'd still be valid. So, if anyone wants to fill out a volunteer form,
correct?
I'd love to volunteer, but nothing about water. You could help me, but.
I'd be one now, happy to take the phone, put in a
I'd love to
volunteer
be part
form.
of the town.
One thing I will, going back to that real briefly and not to open it up for discussion again,
No.
but this plant was built at a severe discomfort to the neighbors. There was nothing here
Sure.
but a small brick building.
Mhm.
So although it is a sacrifice in part to Timberley, we have to take into account all the water uses and what safeguards them and the resources there. So I just thought about that when I'm sitting here. All right, we go to 6.1 superintendent reports.
Okay, so we got the second check this month from 3M.
Okay,
and bringing the total for $340,000 that's sitting in the bank. There's another check for 3M that's going to recover some of the costs for building this building,
all right,
because we've already been approved for that.
yeah,
Also DuPont, we'll be getting a couple checks for them,
From them?
yeah, for the
From DuPont.
PFAS.
Okay.
and then we'll be getting checks from,
There's a third one.
there's 5 altogether.
And then but the ones after 3M and DuPont are a lot smaller.
Mhm.
The one for 3M was, it was huge. It's in the billions.
61.
Yeah. And so every community that was affected, if you applied, you could prove the contamination, the levels and stuff like that. So we did, and that's part, it has to be used, primarily if you can for, cost recovery on the PFAS, but anything water related. So, and that is it's set up in a, special account. And the way I think it works is we have to go, we need to use it. It has to either be voted. It depends on the way it was set up. We go and ask the select board because it's in the money's in town, the account is held in trust by the town.
Mhm.
And our board would have to ask the select board
Mhm.
to, transfer those funds from that account to operating, or would have to be a town meeting. But I think it's select board so that you don't have to call a special meeting just to remove it. If you have need of it, you can get any access to it, but
Does it make any difference how much it is? And what we need? No.
nope. So long as you don't empty it, or you can empty it, but it would have to be, you're gonna have to put in the document what you're using it
Of
for
course.
the record.
For anybody that's wondering what they're talking about, he said we got a check from 3M, we got a check from DuPont, and there's somebody else. And there's apparently a total of 5 checks. I don't think I heard him say a number. I would let you know, I wish they would be more transparent about this stuff. But anyway, those checks that DuPont and 3M, those are the companies that made products and created the PFAS problem in this country. And there was a giant class action suit that the towns, we the recipient of quite a bit of money from these lawsuits, and that 3M and DuPont and any other companies involved, those are the 2 big ones, to provide, to pay monies to water departments, water systems that are impacted by this PFAS problem. And so we're getting some of the monies that we're getting from them is also going towards the building of this building. In fact, I don't know if I said it, this is the inside of the building that was built, the water treatment facility. This is a training room there. All right.
So that is about it. Dave, go ahead.
So there's only a couple things that are warranted in this building that have to be taken care of. There's an exit sign that never got put in, so they're putting that in this week. Couple doors at Witches to help secure that area
Okay.
are gonna be put in, and that should be the second week of November. And there's some chemical feed work that has to be completed.
What kind of doors are you putting in?
You know, the big,
Big, heavy
right now, the
metal?
big steel
Yes, I
doors,
do. Okay.
now they're gonna be more of a normal looking door.
Made out of what?
Steel and,
Okay.
Composite, usually.
Okay,
and that'll actually save us money on the heating
okay.
during the winter. The maps are ready for the booster pump property, which we're getting from the town,
What is this on West Elm or?
West Elm and Blood Road, the corner.
Okay.
And hydrant flushing in Tivoli Park will begin starting tomorrow. It's already been on Facebook
Okay. What are the times and?
from about 8 in the morning to just afternoon,
Okay.
So what area of town?
Tivoli Park,
Tivoli Park.
because that they have most of the work that's been done. And so we're gonna try to clean it up.
One quick question on that. Did we put, I knew part of the problem was a lot of the hydrants weren't set at the end of the lines. They were set kind of in the middle of roads. Have we gone back and put the hydrants at?
I know those of you still on, the water superintendent, David, just mentioned putting something on Facebook about some of the work that they're doing. And they do put, when they're doing some work, they do post it on their Facebook page. The Townsend Water Department does have their own Facebook page. So if you want to make it easier to get some information from these folks, if you're on Facebook, then you should look up the Townsend Water Department and follow them. I don't think you have to friend them. You just have to follow them. It's a follow type of page. So just follow them, and that will help you get a little bit more information about the water operations in Townsend.
The end of all the dead ends?
Some of them.
All right.
We're working on that, but it's also gonna be part of the master plan.
All right.
The next one is looping Virgo to Warren,
Okay,
which
that'll
is
help.
400 feet.
But I am concerned about the dead ends.
Right, but that ends the 2 dead ends.
Too, but we have a lot more than that.
Correct.
And
We only got so much money.
I understand that, but even if we did 3 hydrants in the spring and 3 in the fall,
Well, there's more to it than that. You have to extend water lines.
well, it depends where it's capped and how far you have to go.
Right.
And so, I mean, I want to see I know the importance of that, so I want to see a steady progression. I don't want to lose sight of that.
Right.
So if you can give us, can you put together a list of the ones that still need to get done?
Yeah.
For the next meeting? Thank you. I appreciate that. Anything else, Dave?
Nope, that's it.
All right, PFAS check for 3M and the superintendent report. Do we have anybody still with us? Nope. All right, I will, schedule the next, Board of Water Commissioners meeting.
Todd,
Yes, ma'am.
I would just say that if you need something from the select board, they will next meet November 5th.
Number 5th. Well, okay.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. The other thing, Laurie, well, you just maybe triggered something. And Ian did as well. We haven't done a great job of communicating because we've been focused on getting the plant done and getting what we need. If we put together, my board put together a presentation, everything Dave and his staff have done in the last 3 or 4 years. Could we, I wouldn't have it together we wouldn't have it together by November 5th. But all we would have to do is ask to get added to your agenda, correct?
yes, and I think that Nelson has sent out asking for like monthly reports from the departments. So certainly we would add that as well, but if you want to have a meeting with the Board of Selectmen, I'm happy to put you on.
Okay, I would like, look, this is for a conversation between you and I, that the water department doesn't necessarily, then never mind. That's a longer conversation. But if we put together a very good presentation on everything that this has been done, probably over the last 5 or 6 years, to be honest with you, I think people would have a better understanding of what has transpired, what their money has gone to, and everything that's we have done as a department. So I will figure that out and try and get it on your next meeting then.
I would say that that's a great idea. And I know from what I hear, I don't like to go on Facebook anymore, to the town page, but rather than having all the drama, it would be better to have the facts.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want you to know I appreciate everything that you've done and
You know, again, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. That they just want to add insult to injury. And I know now that all the lawyers in the universe are going to be paying attention to that meeting so that they can take notes and subpoena the meeting video. All these meetings that the water people are going to say, we're going to talk about everything we've done for the last 5 years. Oh, good. That's, like I said, I called this video, I put on the thumbnail there, Todd's deposition. We're going to have deposition part 2 on November 5th. Oh my goodness. We're just sinking the town every single day.
think that David has done a great job. Thank you.
As do I. Let's see, the second Monday,
The 10th.
I'm
It's a
going
day
away.
before Veterans Day.
I'm going away with all my army buddies.
Okay.
Could we do it the 17th?
Yeah.
All right, so the 7th,
Hesitate, just a minute. I'm hesitate. You mean for your meeting?
yes,
Okay, sorry.
nope. Your next one's in December, I think.
So we'll get water, okay.
Yes, the 17th will be water at 7 o'clock. So, no, I do-
Probably won't be attending at that meeting because I will be out of town.
okay, do you want to send an alternate or you trust us to go along on our own?
Oh, you'll be fine. I'll make sure to watch the meeting. No worries.
Not a problem.
Okay.
So we got that set and then, let's see, Jerry,
Mhm.
you want to make the motion on 7.2? Oh, actually, 7.2, actually 7.2, 7.3. You want me to make the motion?
You make sure, yeah.
I make a motion, we review monthly abatements and adjustments.
Okay, that's basically the end of the meeting. They're just paying the bills and nothing critical there. So I'm going to try to bring us back to, oh, that's not where we were. Hold on. I'm going to see you in a second. There I am. I'm going to come back here. So that's all the excitement that I have for you this evening. So we've been here almost 2 hours talking about all this water department stuff. But as you can see, I mean, there's a lot of obviously there's miscommunication, but there's a lot of just ignorance and not really grasping both the water department, the water commissioners, I should say, and the Board of Selectmen still don't really have a grip on the seriousness of the allegations that have been made by the Ethics Commission regarding the ethics complaint, that there will be a hearing for David Vachon on November 18th. And then we have the pending lawsuit, the $1 million lawsuit from the losing bidder, as a result of the ethics, I'm going to say disclosure, but the ethics complaint, because it was made public, or actually the Ethics Commission spoke to RFS regarding the bidding process, and that's when RFS became aware of the problems. And when they did their own investigation, they realized that they needed to file a lawsuit because it's pretty clear. If there's just not an I dotted or a T crossed, people don't sue over that. They look for, wait a minute, this is very serious. And the only people that don't get it is the Board of Water Commissioners, David Vachon, the water superintendent, and the entire Board of Selectmen. I think at least Lori and Veronica, Lori Schifrin, who was just on, and Veronica Kell do not believe that there's anything to any of these allegations. David is going to lose at the Ethics Commission. There's no doubt in my mind. And if the town doesn't settle on the lawsuit, we're going to be out a couple of $1 million. I don't know at what point. I mean, I did the video on the insurance coverage, but I don't know what the selectmen are doing. If they're going to go it alone without the benefit of insurance providing coverage, we're screwed. I have to try to get all the inside information that I can, which I think that they are hopefully appropriately going to keep their mouth shut regarding the litigation conversations that they're having. But I would certainly feel better if I knew a little bit more than I do, because just what they say is frightening. When they just say everything, nobody did anything wrong, and they're going to fight. We really got a problem here, and the most I can do, or the best I can do, is try to do whatever I can to keep the townspeople informed. You got to watch my channel. I try not to spread rumors. I express my concerns on one issue or another. Going down the road, I don't know everything, but I try to be as informed as I can, and I try to let everybody know when I'm not sure on things. But when I have concerns, they're usually based quite a bit in fact, and there's a lot of people very concerned about this water department stuff. So I wanted to share. The more laws people break, and the less transparency people have, and the open meeting law violations are very, very important. They really are a symptom of a bigger problem, that is just this game of cat and mouse with transparency that we play here in Townsend, that the boards keep saying how transparent they are, and then they violate the laws that are put in place to enforce transparency laws. And it's sickening. It's disgusting. And then they gaslight everybody. That, the problem isn't them violating the law. It's Cindy reporting us. It's Cindy's the one who's complaining. If Cindy would just stop, then we would be able to get our job done, instead of constantly berating us over us breaking the law. Just leave us alone. We need to break the law because we don't have time to follow the law. Stop. I'm going to go on a transparency rant again. But anyway, I really don't have a lot more to say. I don't know. Is anybody leaving any comments? Not a chance. So what I'm going to do is, I guess I'm going to end this video for now. And hopefully we'll have more information tomorrow I'm gonna, before I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna check the, I'm gonna check the court page, see if they brought it up again. I'm 99% confident that nothing was filed in the court today regarding our lawsuit. So sometime in the next, I think something will be filed by the middle of, or by the end of this week to give us some indication. I really want to see what the town's answers are, because they have to file their answers to the lawsuit. And I really can't wait. And those, I think, are overdue already. I think, I'm not sure. I have to count the days again. Oh, we got served October 7th. So today, they were due today because it's 20 days. Today's the 20th day. And I think it's not business days. They go by calendar days. So 27th is 20 days after the 7th, right? So my hope would be that whoever's representing us filed for an extension. We'll find out. I'll find out, because I don't think they were just dragging their feet doing anything, because they're just, oh, nothing's wrong. All right, I'm gonna let everybody go, and I will catch you on the next one. If you haven't already, please like this video. I really appreciate that. And do subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And do share this. You can share this with your friends and post on Facebook, or just send off to anybody you know. Oh, I'm not getting any good messages on my phone. Sometimes people send me stuff just as I'm closing out, so I wanted to catch that. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I hope this was informative and helpful with getting you informed on what's going on in town and what kind of things, if you're not from town, to see what kind of crazy things happen in small towns across America and elsewhere. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.